So while everyone's getting set up, I wanted to open with the fact that, in my opinion, there's three major milestones of technology in the modern era. Obviously, televisions, radio, cars, etc. The biggest and first, the internet, obviously. That was game-changing. And then the smartphone, iPhone first, but then the smartphones in general, that was the second one. And I believe we're on the cutting edge of AI being the third one. I think we'll look back in 5 or 10 years and just go, holy cow, how did most people not really see the impact that it's going to have? And if we reflect back on, I don't know if you know this, but when the internet was first released, I suppose, and started becoming a bit more mainstream, traditional media, radio, television, etc., called it a fad. They believed it wasn't going to be around, that it was just a passing, technological craze. And obviously, with hindsight, we can tell how incredibly wrong that was. Similar with the smartphone. I don't know if I was like, I think when it get released, 2008 maybe, 2006 or something like that. I was in my late teens, so I didn't have a BlackBerry, but people who were in business across the world had BlackBerries. It was the biggest thing. When the iPhone and smartphones in general came out, people just would not let go of the BlackBerry. The smartphone was a passing fad, wasn't going to be a thing. And there's always going to be people like that. The fact that you're here in this room means you're not going to be like that with AI, and I think that's great. I also believe in this technology, and it has so many vast, I suppose, applications that it just cannot be ignored, as Steph said. So thank you for being here, and I hope this just brief overview, and I'll show you some applications of it, really helps, and you can kind of like take it away and play with it yourself and find what works for you. We'll obviously be approaching it through the lens of education, but I use it in my personal life just non-stop. So hopefully you find it valuable. Just quickly about AI in the context that we're talking about large language models, which is essentially a type of artificial intelligence which uses language and words and combinations of them, like we do in our language speech, to react to us. And as you can see here on the screen, in a conversational way. And ChatGPT very much is that. It's not kind of like Google where you put in one query and it responds, and then you have to enter a different query if you want something slightly different. ChatGPT can remember what you've said in that conversation, as we'll see shortly. I'm just going to record this screen real quick. If you're impressed with that, you'll love this. Right, so when you sign up for ChatGPT, this is the main screen. Over on the left here, you can see a bunch of stuff that I've just typed in relatively recently and all the chats that I've had with it. So I'm going to use this example for an email later. But World War I quiz, it can create quizzes for you. It can construct emails for you, which is this one's all about. I use it for help with my YouTube channel, so that's there, and just so many different applications. But this is a brand new chat. So despite the fact that I've spoken to ChatGPT a bunch, and it knows actually a lot about me, it's constrained to each individual chat. And so if I type in here, what is my name? It will be like, I have no idea. I'm very confused by that question. So you kind of have to give it a fair bit of context if you're starting a brand new chat. Whereas I can go into my YouTube channel one and just say, what do you think my next YouTube video should be about? And it will just give me a bunch of ideas because I've talked to it a fair bit about it. So a very simple, I think, application of this, which is super great, I think, is generating simple multiple choice quizzes. So obviously we're experts in our fields and we could easily make a quiz ourselves, but it's time consuming thinking of the question, getting the right answer obviously, but then also thinking of those three other answers that might be appropriate, one that's close, two that are crazy different. Like, it's too much mental effort, and I see this kind of program as eliminating all of that extra mental stress from our lives. So I'm going to, does anyone want to recommend a topic?
Dichotomous case.
Say again?
Dichotomous case.
I have no idea what that is. Let's see if I can spell it from phonetics. Okay, create. So this process of putting in a prompt, by the way, is a concept called prompt engineering, and it's going to be a legit job if it isn't already. Like, people are going to be trained as prompt engineers, and their whole entire job is going to be to use AI to generate stuff, and companies will hire prompt engineers to get the best out of the artificial intelligence, and it's going to develop over the years. It's going to be a future job, kind of like how social media managing is a legit career path now. It's a legit job. It was a joke 10 years ago, but it's a proper thing now, and I think that's similar. But anyway, create a, let's go 10 question
Just made 6 for me.
multiple choice quiz about dichotomous. Is that right?
No, T-O-M-O-U-S.
Close though.
Dicot?
Yep. O-M-O-U-S.
Dichotomous keys, that kind of keys.
Yeah.
Create a 10 question multiple choice quiz about dichotomous keys and provide the solution to each.
Do you need to say?
Oops, I have to refresh my page. You can, absolutely. I'm just going to give it a real vague one, and then we'll kind of like adjust it as we go. I know. That's annoying. Create a 10 question quiz, multiple choice. So this is a super basic version, obviously. Produces A, B, C, D, tells me the answer A. I'm pretty sure it's going to pick A for everything. But
Well, yeah.
as you know, I mean, I can tell it to make the answers vary. Oh yeah, sweet. So with most quiz programs like Quizizz or Generative and stuff, you can just tell it, the program, to change the answer anyway.
Did you ask it to add the answer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I specifically did.
Thank you.
And I think this just goes to show why prompt engineering will be really important as well, because if you just say, create a 10 question quiz about dichotomous keys, it might make it multiple choice, it might make it extended response, it may not tell you the answers. Like, you have to be quite specific if you want something specific. If you want something vague, you can ask it for a vague thing and give me the solutions there. I might go, well, I know for a fact actually, because Quizizz is one of my favorite programs here. I know that you can import a spreadsheet into Quizizz rather than typing it all. I'll show you that actually while I'm at it. So if you go create a quiz, continue as me. How good's technology? I don't have to do anything. It just logs me in. I mean, it's not good in terms of like privacy. It knows everything about my entire life, but whatever. We've sacrificed privacy as a species a long time ago. So you, of course, with Quizizz, you can just teleport questions in. You can go find them yourself, but it is kind of time consuming. So I'm going to go spreadsheet here. And you can download a sample template, which I think is the most easy way to start, because it is kind of necessity that you create it in the exact way that Quizizz wants you to import it. Did I download that? Oh yes, I did. Open it. There it goes. And the template's kind of important because I'm going to tell ChatGPT to format my questions and answers in exactly this template. So I'll just full screen this. Okay, sorry computer, I'll give you a moment. All right, so it's got question text, then the question type, which is all going to be multiple choice, then the 4 different options. You need 5 for this template. You can leave them blank though. So we don't need to put that one in. And then the correct option choice, and then the time in seconds, that can be blank. So I'm going to get rid of all of this, just the parts of it. Correct option choice, will enter that with ChatGPT. I don't want to have to do it myself. Get rid of all of my answers, because I'm going to have the ones from ChatGPT, and get rid of the question. Oops, not the heading, just the questions. So now if we go back to ChatGPT, we might say format the quiz in a table with the following formatting guidelines, or something like that. By the way, if I just hit enter, it'll send it, and like, so if you hold shift and hit enter, I just do it for my own sanity of formatting, because I'm going to say column 1 should be the question. Column 2, I'm going to put in brackets, I don't know why I do, but put multiple choice for all. And you'll notice that I'm literally just typing to it like I was asking a human being to do it. And it understands all of that kind of context. If we go back to Excel, so column 3 will be option 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'll say column 3, option 1, column 4, option 2, column 5, option 3, column 4, option 4. And I'm going to say to it column 5, correct answer, but format it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, not A, B, C, or D, just because Quizizz, that spreadsheet wants it that way. And I think that's all I need, because I'm not going to put a time limit on it, and I'm not going to put an image link. So that should be it, and hit enter, and hope for the best. Morning, Zoe.
Morning.
Sorry, it's down here. So there it is in a table. We can just copy and paste this table now, hopefully, into Excel, and it'll work just straight away. Just while it's doing it, ChatGPT is free, but there is a paid version. The only difference is speed. So the original ChatGPT, when they just released it, was super fast. This is slower. As you can see, it's just, I mean, it's still fast. It's just slower than the paid one. I regret doing 10 questions. We arguably should have just done 5, but you can see correct answer A, B, C, D, and because I told it to do it in the format of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's doing that for me. Just saves me a bit of time and effort. So now I should just be able to copy all this, not the headings though, because the headings are already in my Excel. Control C to copy, and then just from here, Control V to paste. And the only downside is, well, not downside, but I don't have anything for text option 5, so I'm going to cut that column, pop it in here. And now, that should be sufficient. All of those are the options, and now I can just save this. Save as. Desktop will be sufficient. Save. And now back to Quizizz. And we can just upload our spreadsheet from the desktop. There it is. And hopefully, because I haven't changed any headings or anything, it should just say, good stuff, there it is, import. And rather than having to copy and find questions, all the questions just get generated, the correct one's highlighted, and it's ready to go with the kids. So in Quizizz specifically, this is how you do it, but you could do it for any quiz. You could do it for Socrative, you just need to figure out the formatting. But all the brunt work is done by ChatGPT, and despite the fact that I was demonstrating while doing it, it took us like, what, 4 minutes, maybe? If you have this spreadsheet already downloaded, and you've got this prompt, by the way, like I can just now, if I have a different quiz, I can just copy and paste that, and it will do it again for a different quiz, or I could do it for 30 questions. Just one simple example of, and this is what I've done as well, by the way. This is one of the main advantages I've found of this, is I can create formative data captures. Like if you've got a 5-question quiz after 2 weeks of study or something, and you just want to give it to the kids, or after one lesson, it takes 2 seconds, figuratively. It obviously takes some time, but much less than finding all the questions and copy and pasting them yourself. So that's one option. With Quizizz in particular, the PD is not about Quizizz, but you can also, if you've got Google Forms already made, you can import them into Quizizz, and it makes it a quiz, Google Slides, that sort of thing. But anyway, back to Quizizz, back to ChatGPT. A second thing, I might actually go positive that we can use, and then something scary that the kids can do. Okay, say in health, what are you doing at the moment, Hannah?
We are researching national health priority areas, and they have to choose a specific NHP, National Health Priority Area, and then they have to link it to an action area within the Ottawa Charter.
Okay, what are some NHP action areas?
Oh, NHPA?
NHPA?
You might have to say National Health Priority Area.
Let's see.
Okay, one second.
No.
Yeah.
National Historic. What is it, sorry?
National Health Priority Area.
Sweet. I'm going to click Stop Generating. Give me a list of some National health priority areas in Australia or Australian. I'm just going to start with that.
Sure.
Yep, that's it.
That's sweet. So I'm going to say, and what are they trying to do? Link it to the Ottawa Charter?
They have to look at a health campaign relating to a specific, for example, like mental health, one would be Are You OK Day?
Perfect.
And then, they have to link it to the Ottawa Charter for Health Promotion, which has like 5 outlined areas, so strengthening community action, building personal skills, all of that.
So it should know about that. Was that, okay, one other thing about ChatGPT, to learn to do this, it read the internet.
Yep.
So just like we'd read a book, it read the internet, but it did that in 2001. So any information that came out since then, it won't know. So if I ask it, what was the population of Australia on a certain date in 2022, it'll be like, I don't know, but the most recent census is this sort of thing. So it doesn't know that. But the Ottawa Charter, I presume, is older than 2021?
Yes.
Close enough. It'll be right. So let's say,
Much older.
what is a national campaign run around cancer control? And notice I'm just like, no punctuation, I'm writing like a student would type. In Australia, there are 7 national campaigns. First one, Australia's biggest morning tea. Sweet, stop generating. Link Australia's biggest morning tea to the Ottawa Charter.
For health promotion?
For health promotion. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, see, that's their body paragraph done.
Yeah.
And it gives them the answer of which one, because part of the trickiness of it is them making sure they get the right categories.
Right.
And this is explaining how.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on 4?
Oh no.
That's pretty neat.
But it doesn't mean they'll get full marks, okay?
Great point.
Where was this when I was at uni?
Now-
Seriously, we'll save some time.
I have a quick question if you
Go
can
ahead.
answer it.
Yeah.
I've done something similar to this to see what my psychology students would be able to get.
Yep.
And it was really scary how high the mark would have been. The only thing that brought it down was the fact that they hadn't actually analysed any data.
Right.
There's not a way for them to put like an Excel spreadsheet in or something or a graph in and then analyse that. Because if that's the case,
Probably.
the entire assessment is written for them.
Now, I don't know about ChatGPT in particular. I dare say if they put in data, it could analyse that data, but how well, I'm not sure. By the way, this thing is fallible. It has made mistakes in the past. It does make mistakes all the time. So if we're going to use this or if the kids are going to use it, we need to be aware that, yeah, it does like 80-90% of the work, but we still have to do the 10-20% to double check, fact check, make sure it reads correctly, that sort of thing. It's going to be a nice segue because in Microsoft Edge, and in particular Bing, which none of you have used since 2004,
I heard about this.
Microsoft, which has funded the research into ChatGPT, has integrated ChatGPT with Bing. So the upside of Google is that we can get absolutely relevant posts and the most popular relevant posts. Upside of ChatGPT is that it's more conversational and I can ask it to do things like elaborate or be more specific, that sort of thing. This is both combined. So I mentioned that up until 2021, you can't go any further than that. Bing is relevant. So if I say, what's some statistics that they're looking at in there? Like just an example.
I think research investigation was last year.
Doesn't have to be that specific.
Oh, okay. Let's just go context-dependent memory.
Context-dependent memory. So obviously, in the past, what we went through at school or as teachers is we'd have to go through this, read, synthesize, evaluate, and like make judgments about it. Here in ChatGPT version of Bing, notice it's also summarizing on the right here automatically. So context-dependent memory refers to improved recall, blah, 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 providing references, because it can, because it's live, and it's reading the internet as we go. Whoops, I can click see more, and it provides a bit more. It shows me the links that it refers to. I can go to those links. I can also ask it questions. So how does context-dependent memory affect learning? And this is the chat portion, or the ChatGPT part of Bing itself. It's searching for it at the moment, and it's going to talk to me and give me more updated information about that. The reason I brought this up is because it's much more effective than ChatGPT, and it's live. But I feel like this might be what you were talking about, where kids can actually summarize or use statistics that are on the internet as long as they link to it. So I can probably find a specific data set I want as like that's on the website, put in the link and say summarize or analyze this data and give me a dot point list of what it says. That sort of thing.
So on this feature though, like for the student experiments where they actually have to collect their data.
Right, okay.
There's no way of that. I just wanted to make sure.
Got you.
For my own mental clarity.
Maybe. I don't know. Should we just make up? It's hard to make up a data set, I suppose. But go away and try it, because you genuinely might be able to. If you put, you know how we took ChatGPT's table and put it in Excel. I dare say if you take a Excel and put it into ChatGPT, it might be able to format it as a table and then read it itself. I have no idea though, to answer your proper question, because I haven't done it myself, so I don't know. But I would be surprised if it couldn't. Yet as well. Yeah, yet as well. Because this is, remember, this is the iPhone 1.
Infancy.
The excited and potentially scared faces that I've seen when I've done some of these demonstrations was the exact same as when Steve Jobs held up the iPhone for the first time. I shit you not. If you haven't seen the presentation, go watch it. But he holds up the iPhone, he goes to Apple Music, right, the iPod, which was called on the first iPhone, and it's got like a list of songs just like this, and he says, notice there's no scroll bar. He says, to go through my selected songs, all I have to do is put my finger on the screen and scroll. And the crowd literally went, like they were baffled and shocked. This is that happening in real time. It feels game-changing because it is. Like this is scrolling with your finger on your phone instead of having to have a stylus or click a scroll bar to go down, in my opinion.
Can it create visual stimulus?
This one, no. AI, yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
If I go to
Because I would like them to.
Discord, oh, I did it on Edge.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Steph. Discord,
Just trying to make my life easier.
this one here. Oh, I might not be able to access Discord on my hotspot.
Discord, let's save that one.
This is a, I was literally, found this morning. It's not the only one, by the way, but it can do it live for us.
Place to hang out.
Discord in general is just a chat room kind of program. This one in particular creates images based on an input.
Based on what?
Input, textual input. So as soon as I connect to my hotspot, I should be able to go to Discord. It's banned at schools because people use it for gaming, chat, and all that sort of stuff. So that makes sense why it's banned. Come on, internet. Should ask ChatGPT to improve my internet connection. There we go. All right. Try again. Anyway, any other questions while we wait for technology? Or any concerns, thoughts?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can this one go the other way around? So can it create visuals based on stimulus you give it?
Yes. That's what we're going to do.
That's really cool. But so like it could create
Okay.
like a.
So, for example,
yeah,
my
like, or a
design
field
kit.
guide. Like, can it create like tables or stuff for kids to read?
Tables? What do you mean by tables?
I want to create like a field guide for them to.
Like a graphical organizer sort of thing?
Yeah, it's like how you would. Well, it's a dichotomous key as well. It's like how they work out what animal is what, but it's like a set table. And I don't want
This one, no. This is art, I guess.
Okay.
More for art. So, for example, if we go to this one here, let's just look at some examples. Sorry if any of them are inappropriate. But this one down here, for example, is Pokemon. That was the request. And this is what it drew. AI drew this. It didn't find it on the internet. AI drew this.
It's a brand new.
That's the
image
first time that's
not
ever been
affected
made.
by copyright.
Yep.
What?
This was someone posted a link of themselves. So if we just have a look at this person's picture.
Come on. I'm embarrassed for them.
This is.
Steph, they probably had it printed and put on their wall by
it's
now.
true.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Oh yeah. I mean, after we see what it can do, maybe we'll all go and do that.
What's for me, make it
Look,
pop.
Yeah. Make it better. All right. But anyway, this was a person. They wrote that picture, but as a sensitive, handsome, muscular, and gay painter in 1900.
Wow.
Pretty good. This one, convert image to ultra realistic. Okay, so that's the old one, that's the new one, I guess. Bit of lighting changes. Cat with red flowers.
Oh, I actually like that one.
That's
Yeah.
sweet. So I suppose we can have a go. What do we want to get it to make? /imagine, you type, and then whatever you want.
Can you put in?
Kangaroo punching a tree.
Oh, I was going to put in a design one
Oh,
for
do
school.
that, do that.
Yeah, go on.
No, let's do a kangaroo punching a tree.
Do Zoe's one.
Um,
Design teacher.
Can you put in?
Just want to see how we
Human-centered
Yeah.
design for wheelchair. Just see what comes up, because they have to pick a client, and it's always based on like the person they've chosen. But
Yep. So it's pretty laggy because of my internet, allegedly. I don't know where my one is. It's usually somewhere in recents. But alright, human-centered design.
I just go Control F.
There it
that
is.
one
Yeah, I would be able to. I don't know, it looks like a cat so far, but it's 0% made.
Look, I can see wheels.
Oh wow.
So it produces 4, but you can give it more specific
Okay,
instructions.
So,
So these look like just wheelchairs for humans.
they just look like So let's be more specific. Let's say. Human-centered design.
Are they creating design solutions? For,
Yeah, they have to come up with their own
um,
brand new, never seen before.
What do you mean by
solutions.
human-centered design?
So human-centered design is about it has to be designed for a specific client. So it's a whole topic that we do, and they
Mhm.
focus on looking at the needs and wants of the specific stakeholder they choose, and then they have to design something that fits with that person.
What would be an example?
So, like, say you didn't have, like, you lost one hand, for example, and then coming up with inventions that would work, like nail clippers for your other hand that you could use one-handed. Would be
With extra features for a person with only one hand, one arm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can be really
Because
specific.
they'll see, like when they synthesize all their information together, they'll have a really clear brief of this is who my client is in the end, and this is what I'm going to create.
Yeah, and obviously kids without design skills
Yeah.
can use this sort of thing to support that, I guess, deficiency in ability. You can see a lot of self-centered searches here.
That's super weird.
Perverse. That person's going ham. Okay, this one without a picture input. Young woman, long curly brown hair, hazel eyes, round face, doe eyes, long neck, bushy eyebrows. First time that's ever been painted or made.
So you can put pictures into.
You
so
can-
I could have 2 photos in there and
You can-
say synthesize these photos together.
Yeah, I actually saw one this morning where someone put in, I think that was our wheelchair up here, where someone put in a picture of 2 parents and said, what's the future, so if we click, we can click in and zoom in a bit. So I don't know, like, how this is relevant. I guess this has a space for,
Well, that would be like so that they don't fall over because they don't have the support
Yeah.
from that arm anymore.
there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
These are really small, but you can also, with this program, click upscale for. Anyway, I don't really want to, we're going to run out of time,
Yeah.
but I don't really want to get bogged down in really specific AI programs. There are, just so you know, so many out there. Heaps related to education as well. Like I found, and I'll send out an email with, probably just to everyone, but I'll send out an email with a bunch of different programs I found. Some are great, some are not, but you can play around with them. Things like put in a topic and it'll generate a PowerPoint slides for you. They're not great, but they exist.
Start.
I'll send it out. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's Canva, which you may know about. It's a design thing. It can do stuff like artificially remove backgrounds from pictures. It can, you can do green screening with it, so kids can record a video. There's also, heaps of that. What was another one I found and played around with? Obviously the quiz generation stuff. Actually, I've got an email with, it's a person who has, I'm not going to claim that I've found these on my own. I subscribe to a person who has a newsletter called Ditch That Textbook. Anyway, he sent out a one recently-ish, or maybe this was Edutopia. Anyway, I subscribe to a bunch of them because I'm a nerd. Anyway, I will email you it. Otherwise, I'll spend 5 minutes looking for them here. ChatGPT, this one's called Midjourney. If you go into Discord, it's free to join. You don't even need to sign up for this in particular, you just sign up for Discord itself. There's another one called, not Wall-E, like the movie, it's called DALL-E, I think, and it's a OpenAI one that made ChatGPT. They made that one too, and it creates pictures. You can be really specific, like you can say photorealistic, or you can ask for a cartoon version, or whatever you want. And yeah, so with the art stuff, you don't if I ask for this and I take it, I don't have intellectual property rights to it. The creators of the program also don't have intellectual property rights to it. Property rights for artificial intelligence is a super grey area at the moment. And it's probably going to be years till they figure it out. Also, one more thing with ChatGPT, because that was my main thing I wanted to talk about. Just a couple more things that you can use for create a lesson plan about dichotomous keys. Now you start super basic with ChatGPT is the best way I've found. Oh, let's just have to refresh. I find it's best to be vague, and then when you look at the output, go, oh, I want that to change, and just tell it to change it, and it will.
One thing I've tried, which I thought was quite helpful, is you can also suggest experiments for this.
Oh yeah.
Things that you've never thought of before will pop up, and it just really helps out lessons in general.
Ideation, big time.
Learning intentions.
Yeah. The materials you'll need, 10-minute introduction, blah, blah, blah. Now it's pretty vague and not great, but I can see the huge applications for beginning teachers with this. Remember when you started, how much time you spent thinking about what you should do in each lesson?
Yeah.
I mean, these days you probably kind of just wing it, but back then you were so structured and I need to do this first, then this. This is just a great way to get started. And even now, we know our content and we know how to teach it, but if you're just, what should I do? Type it into ChatGPT and just ask it, what should I do for this? Or what experiments could I do for this? Now we talked about some great things, some scary things that kids can do. Despite how easy it will be for kids to cheat with this, I really think we should talk to them about it and show kids this. Show them what it can do, even the cheating part. But talk to them about the point of school being to learn how to synthesize, to learn how to evaluate. Because if you don't have those skills, you're going to get left behind in the future. And being a prompt engineer, someone who uses AI, you need synthesis skills. You need to know how to evaluate what's important, what's not. You need to know how to analyze the text it provides. And if the kids cheat with it, they're just hurting themselves for the future. And sure, you're going to have kids who are going to cheat, but they were going to cheat anyway. I mean, what's the difference between them copying another student and copying AI?
Yeah, or copying the internet.
Yeah, Wikipedia. Well, I got told I couldn't reference Wikipedia when I was growing up.
Same.
And you obviously can. Now, anyway. People were afraid when calculators became a thing, but the kids are just going to use them to cheat. Now I use your calculator. God, I'm sick of you getting it wrong. Use your calculator. It's a tool, right? This is a tool. And it can be a really powerful tool for in-class stuff as well. So I might ask it, what did I ask it before? A summary of, I even spelled dichotomous wrong.
Yeah, but it fixed it.
But it fixed it immediately. So it understands context. If I say, write a 300-word summary of Australia's involvement in World War II, probably spelled a bunch of words wrong there, it's going to summarise Australia's involvement in World War II. But what a great place to start. Give the students this output and say, guys, your task for today is to evaluate this response from this artificial intelligence, what did it do really well in its summary? What is it missing? Use your knowledge of World War II to fill in any gaps or correct any mistakes. You could even ask it for this summary with intentional errors. Dates wrong. You could ask it for numbers being wrong, right? So if we say rewrite it with some errors so I can give it to students to correct as a learning activity. September 1939. I think that's wrong, isn't it? The correct answer being, no, September 30. 1940. Hey, math teacher here, not a history teacher. Fall of Singapore, right? I don't know in particular what's wrong there, but I asked it to create errors and it probably has. And giving that to the kids to analyze can show their knowledge of it. So I think, and zero effort, right? What a great learning task, but I didn't actually have to create something with errors on purpose, which is really hard and mentally draining. I can also ask it for, I'll just show you this one. I asked it to, I'm a teacher at a high school in Australia, so context. I teach maths. Recently a student has been caught eating in my class multiple times. I've discussed how inappropriate it is, blah, blah, blah. Can you compose an email? Blah, blah, blah. The student does try very hard in class. They just seem to eat at school breaks. I think they're playing with friends. And it creates this really well-written email.
Take a quick photo of that prompt, just like.
Yeah, sure. Like, but
that's
like,
not bad.
yeah, like just
I love this.
for anything. Like anything you can think of where you go, oh, that's going to be laborious.
Yeah.
ChatGPT
It's a nice
it.
email too.
It's great.
I think photo
And
processing.
if, say for example, you feel like the tone's too serious, too formal, I can say, rewrite with a more friendly tone. And I want to talk about your amazing child in my maths class. They're such a
They are
bright
bright
student and a
students.
joy to have in my class, etc.
However.
Yeah.
Next sentence, let's go.
I know they mean no harm, but you know, like, and if I wanted to be much more serious and severe, if I'm like a dean or whatever, I can say with a very serious tone, implying that there will be really serious consequences if they don't change. Or you could probably get it to write I saw an example of someone wrote a very harsh, I suppose, review of a restaurant, and someone, the owners actually wrote their response, and it was okay, but they didn't address all the points of concern in the review and stuff. Someone put the review into ChatGPT and said, can you write a professional reply to this criticism? And it was amazing. Addressed every concern, apologized, like blah, 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 even provided an email for the company and said, if you want to, please contact us with more specific concerns because we want to investigate further, that sort of thing.
That's what our year 10s do in hospitality. They have to respond to a review. So,
Excellent skill set.
Like, it's very hard in half an hour or so, or 40 minutes, to go through the full capabilities of this AI, let alone all AI. I kind of just wanted to show and share some of its features, some things you can do to just maybe open everyone's eyes to the future. And yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. So the fact that you're here again, as I mentioned at the start, is indicative that you take it seriously, or at the very least see the potential of it. And I urge you to also just share what you've learned or what you know about it with your colleagues, because a lot of them haven't come because they don't see, like they don't understand that it's going to be so big. And a lot of them haven't come because they don't believe it. Kind of like people when they said the internet's a fad or the iPhone's not going to take over, right? They're either ignorant or actively trying to not believe it's true because they're scared, which is fine. It's a very scary thing, especially for people who are not very tech savvy in general. So if you share with them the opportunities first, I think that'll be really valuable and get them on board somewhat. And then as a civilization, we're going to have to think about the impacts of this on society, let alone education, and just move forward with it, because it's not going to go anywhere.
Will you do yourself a disservice or kids a disservice if you don't at least teach them about it?
Yeah, like,
Because there'll be other schools that will be using this.
yeah, 100%. Our kids will get left behind if we don't.
Exactly.
And, you know, obviously there's ways for kids to cheat, But if they see how they can use it as a benefit, they're probably just going to do that. Like if they write an essay and put it in here and say, can you give me feedback on this essay? It will. And also, sorry, drafting teachers. Sorry, this will be the last thing. I promise you.
English is like just made my
Didn't we write something?
No, but it does make a lot of mistakes. I've compared.
Yeah, it does.
I've put in the essay question for year 12
Yep.
or year 11 for the school holidays last year.
Yep.
And it made a lot of mistakes. It could not clearly analyse, and the other thing that he did, it got character names wrong.
Did it?
Yeah. Yep.
That doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
Going to work.
So this is the erroneous World War II paragraph, so hopefully it finds its own errors. Overall, the student's draft submission is well written and effectively summarises Australia's involvement. However, there are a few minor errors that should be corrected. Was began should be changed to began. Second sentence, immediate should be changed to immediately. So this is grammatical stuff. I could press it for more as well. I think something that might address the issues is this Edge browser, because it can actually find the references online, and especially more modern ones. So if it's making errors because of relevancy or recency, it can fix those. But again, like you said, it's just a tool. We still have to do some of our jobs. It just does most of the heavy lifting. And hopefully will mean at the end of your days, you are less mentally fatigued because you're not thinking about lesson plans because it can make them. You're not thinking about writing 10 quizzes. You're not spending hours at your computer literally writing emails back to parents because you just type in conversational terms what you want and it will spit it out. But anyway, it's the future, so hop on the bus. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me. I'll send you a list of resources I've found and play with it and share the good news.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I learned so much.